In today's video, we're going to learn how to fix a hole in a drywall, and we do that very simple. Hey, this is Marco from Bama Handyman Solutions. Let's jump into it. As you can see, there is a hole in the drywall. This happened most likely from the doorknob which banged into the drywall. What we're going to do is it called today California patch. I learned that from a buddy of mine. He showed me how to do that, and I would like to pass that on. And it's basically very simple. We're gonna first cut out that hole a little bit bigger. We're gonna make a square, and then we're going to use a piece of drywall. We then put in there. And the trick here is, first of all, to determine the thickness of the drywall, because there are different thicknesses. I run sometimes into an issue that, the thickness is a bit different from 1/4, a 1/2 inch, 3/8, or even 5/8. So it is always good to have the right size on hand. So let's get started to cut that out in a square. So we clean up the hole a little bit, make sure we cut all the cardboard off. Here we go, and as you can see, it already has been fixed one time. So we already see here a drywall joint compound on it. And to make our patch a little bit bigger, and that's the good thing about the California patch, we basically patch a bigger area. So once we have our hole ready, what I like to do is I want to roughen the surface a little bit around it, and I'll just use a regular sanding sponge. And the idea here is just to give the paint, roughen up the paint so that the drywall joint compound sticks better to it. And there is a little trick, or something I discovered over time, is to reinforce that patch a little bit. I like to install a backing board or a backing piece of wood, and I just use here scrap wood. And what I'm going to do is feed that in here and put it behind the drywall. It will look like this, and attach it with 2 screws. So once I put in the patch, I'll be able to basically screw the patch to that piece of wood, and it makes it more rigid. Well, we have to make sure we don't lose the piece of wood. And then I just basically screw in a screw above it. I just want to sink it, right? And then I do the same on the bottom. Let's go over here. There we go. So we have to make sure those screw heads are completely sunk. See, so that's much stronger now. And now we come to the actual patch itself. So to do the actual patch itself, we're gonna take a piece of drywall, the correct size or thickness, and as you can see, we just make it a little bit bigger so we can cover those screws, and also a little bit wider. And what we're going to do is we're gonna score. It's very important we score the back cardboard. And how we're going to do that, we want to basically insert the piece of drywall in here, but we want to keep the paper on the other side. So we're gonna put that close to the patch, to the hole, and then we just go a little bit less, a little bit below the whole size, and we do the same for the bottom piece. Here we go. Okay. And then we move the patch below the hole, and then we do the same thing. We score the back approximately like that. And all we're gonna keep is just this piece, right, which will then fit in here. And then we just break it apart. And the important stuff here, we wanna make sure we just peel the drywall or the gypsum off the front paper, see, so we keep that, very important. Alright, one more, here we go. So now we have, this will be what is visible and this will be the back, so now we see if it fits. So it fits perfectly, right? So next we're gonna apply some joint compound around here, a little bit here. We give one screw in the middle and we squeeze it in and we call it a day. So the next thing we're going to do is I made some hot mud, and the consistency is a little bit like yogurt, a little bit more liquid. So do that because the paper will absorb a lot of water. So, and then I just put some on here, just a little bit. There we go. Okay. Doesn't need to look nice. And then I do the same thing on the back of the patch. So it's very important that the paper is truly covered in compound. If not, it will start to get blisters. And I also put some extra here, see, on the edges, just to make sure it bonds completely to the wall. So this can get a bit messy, but I hope you can see what I'm trying to do here. So, and here you cannot really overdo it because we squeezed it out anyway. Okay, so I would say that's about it. Put some extra here. Okay, and then I already put in a screw, and we basically just put that in here, put that in place. Okay, I will screw that down. Same thing here, we want to make sure the screw is all the way, the head is all the way in. And then it's very important we just squeeze here the compound out. See how it squeezes out? So that's all what we're gonna do in our first attempt. So we have to squeeze it out. Okay, so we don't want to overdo it with the paper because it's getting fragile. All we want to do is just get it out. Here we go. Okay, and now I just clean up a little bit, give them a first coat, cover it completely. Alright, so now we don't want to overdo it with playing around. Alright, so that's the first stage. Now then we come back, sand it, and then we apply a second coat of joint compound, and then we are already good to go. So now what we have to do is always sand it, and then we apply a second coat, sand it again, and a third coat, and then we are ready for paint. So that was basically it for the California patch. I hope you learned something new technique. If you have any questions, comments or concerns, please leave them in the comment box below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and help the channel grow. And I appreciate for watching and see you next time. Thank you. Bye.